Drugs. Geriatricians warn, dividing and shredding them can be dangerous. The experts of the Italian Society of Gerontology and Geriatrics, SIG, gathered in Naples for the 62nd National Congress, warn against the risks of widespread practice, especially among the elderly, to crush or split the pills in half to swallow them more easily or to adjust the doses of therapy. 40% of the elderly crush or break the pills in half. One in 3 is badly divided. At the risk of effective treatments and side effects. For elderly people intent alter the structure of drugs, crushing or cutting the tablets, and 1 in 5 the disguise is then in food. But the division of the pills is unequal in 1 case out of 3 even if you use a precision instrument such as a pill size. In fact, the quantity of drug taken is at least 15 different from that prescribed, with a risk of below-R overdose which reduces the effectiveness of the therapy. There are also no side effects because if the medicine has a narrow therapeutic window, that is toxic to dosages that go even minimally from those necessary for treatment, the danger of serious adverse events is concrete. The elderly are more at risk because the correct division of the pills with the fingers or with a knife, especially if small, requires good sight, manual strength and dexterity, lacking in the most fragile patients. Revising or asking the doctor for different formulations can reduce the need to crush or divide the tablets by up to 70%, especially in the elderly with problems swallowing. The experts of the Italian Society of Gerontology and Geriatrics, SIG, gathered in Naples for the 62nd National Congress, warned against the manipulation of do-it-yourself drugs. It often happens to change the drugs to make them easier to swallow. It happens to anyone but especially to the elderly, among whom the share of those who alter drugs also to adjust therapy reaches 41% of patients while 20% camouflages them then in foods, says Nicola Ferrara, President SIG and Ordinary of Internal Medicine and Geriatrics of the University Federico II of Naples, but the data show that even with the pills, the most accurate means to intervene, 1 tablet in 3 is badly divided and the dose obtained is higher or at least 15% lower than the prescribed one. This can be dangerous in the case of drugs with a narrow therapeutic window, which have toxic effects at dosages that deviate even very little from the therapy. Do not break or crush, otherwise the loss of efficacy and tolerability. Even gastro-resistant tablets, such as esomeprazole, designed with an external film to overcome the barrier of the stomach and dissolve in the intestine, as well as coated capsules and those in slow or prolonged release. Splitting the pills is always a source of errors. The risk is reduced if there is a small incision guide, but the imprecision is in fact inevitable, especially in the elderly who often have visual difficulties or joint problems in the hands. Then we do not talk about when the pellet is shredded. Do not lose a substantial part is practically impossible. An operation that is often extended to all the prescribed medicines, mixed in a single solution. A mix that can cause risks of interaction between different principles and phenomena of irritation of the airways due to dust inhalation, continues Ferrara. Also, especially at home, the elderly or their caregivers, chop or divide different drugs always using the same tool, an even more dangerous practice because even when you crush or cut the drugs one at a time, the lack of cleaning of the knife, The data collected by SIG show that the practice of altering drugs is a widespread habit, especially in the RSA, because many patients are unable to swallow the whole tablets due to diseases such as dementia or stroke, or also due to the presence of a nasogastric. However, a survey conducted on more than 200 RSA guests in Lombardy has shown that it is possible to reduce the use of drug alterations by up to 70%, easily and without additional costs. Physicians and physiotherapists have re-evaluated each patient, finding for many alternative ways, for example the administration of the whole tablet together with yogurt, puddings or other foods of consistency easy to swallow, or similar or equivalent drugs in different formulations, from drops to granules, explains Luisa Guglielmi of the Robco Dioglio Rest Home Foundation. On this of Robco Dioglio, CR, author of the study. With simple measures and without a particular cost increase, we have been able to considerably reduce the practice of grinding drugs to allow them to taking. The indications emerged from the investigation are very important, because often it is enough to review the therapy to modify it and make it easier to swallow, observes Guglielmi. In conclusion, the advice to the elderly is to try to swallow the tablets whole and to limit at most the use of cutting or shredding, if you are not able to correctly perform the operation. Even though, highlights Guglielmi, in frail and polypotrated elderly people, fractionation allows the doctor to check the patient's response at the beginning of treatment at very low doses or to gradually suspend the therapy. In these cases, if you are not able to correctly cut the pill, it is advisable to ask the doctor to prescribe the same molecules in different formulations, in drops, syrup or granules. Unfortunately, concludes Guglielmi, still several active ingredients of great consumption, like ACE inhibitors or beta blockers, they have no alternative to the form in tablets or capsules. It is desirable that, for non-triturable or divisible capsules and tablets such as coated, gastro-resistant or slow-release tablets, industry will make available other formulations that are equally effective but safer. Given the lengthening of the average life, it would be advisable for pharmaceutical companies to give the elderly the same attention paid to the pediatric band, formulating ad hoc preparations.